Welcome to the Ascent.
The Ascent is my favorite PlayStation 5 game. What's up, everybody? It's Andy here, your resident Nintendo nerd, but of course I'm on the PlayStation channel today because I have a game that I want to talk about, which is The Ascent. So The Ascent is a freaking awesome game, and if you haven't played it, then I really want you to, because this game is great. It's a dungeon crawler that's very sort of akin to a cross between, say, Cyberpunk meets Diablo. That's the kind of vibes I'm getting. It's like a looter shooter, but it is so good. Like, it's such a cool game. So the art style, straight away, it is like a cyberpunk-esque like area and environment. And the whole idea is, well, it's called The Ascent. So there's various levels that you can ascend to, from right at the very bottom, which is horrible. No one lives there. Everyone's dead. There's like little creatures there. And then the further you go up, the better it gets. And the ultimate richest people live on the top floor. And you're basically like a mercenary that's forced to work for certain groups. And you kind of, as you progress through the story, you kind of rank up and change groups and ascend, essentially. But don't worry, I'm not going to give you any spoilers here, so you know, that's enough of that. But basically, you can custom create your own character. You can choose, you know, all the like look and feel, and you can change the color as well of your like clothing, which will then affect the color of your actual armor, which I didn't find out until we'd basically completed the game. And yeah, so be aware of that. But yeah, you create your character and you pretty much run around and kill everything, and then you can loot stuff, you can upgrade your guns. So I say it's a looter shooter, but it's not a looter shooter in the sense that you will find different weapons. You pretty much just get one type of weapon per go, if that makes sense. So there's like one SMG, and then there's like one like flamethrower. You can find like slightly different variations, but the idea is that you get like your favorite weapon, and then you actually upgrade it. So the more that you use that item, well, then the more you can actually put points into making it better. So instead of like throwing it away and finding like a really rare one, you change the like item's rarity by upgrading it, and that affects the damage and all that kind of stuff. You have augmentations, you have all these special moves. It's so cool. Like, there's a massive system. I'm not going to go into everything in this game, I'm just showing my hype. But yeah, I played this co-op with my wife Christina, and we actually love couch co-op games, which we think there's not enough of, because so many games these days, and AJ agrees as well, is that most of them are online co-op, and that sucks because we're all older gamers. You know, we come from the era where you would sit down, there was no internet, so you would play on the same console, and I think that kind of gets lost a little bit these days. However, The Ascent on PlayStation 5, you can play it solo, you can play it online co-op, or you can play couch co-op, and that's exactly how we played this game. It runs beautifully. The environments are so well done. Like, you never feel bored or that you're running around the same kind of area. Each floor is uniquely different. There is so many different like towns. There's all these items you can find. You can upgrade your like ice ability, which lets you hack things. So you can actually like hack ATMs for money, or you can hack like health like machines and get health, or you can just like blow them up. But also there's chests that are locked via different like and doors that are locked via like different ice levels, and basically you hold down like triangle and you can hack them, and if your level's high enough, well, then you can then open it up and reap the rewards. Now on your map you'll have tons of like little orange boxes everywhere, and if you're starting to play this, we'll just go and hunt them down as you're doing the missions. We decided to try and hunt all the boxes down after we'd completed the game, because we weren't expecting to be so near the end, and then we found it was kind of hard to get a couple more. So we're sat with like 98% of the game completed, but we cannot get to the last like 2 boxes, I think it is, because we've tried everything. We've literally spent hours to try and get there. So the game is amazing. However, it is a little bit buggy. And now I kind of understand this, and it did not ruin the gameplay for me. There was a couple of instances where we'd like ran into a mission, let's say, where there would be meant to be like enemies or a boss fight or something like that, but they just weren't there. There was no one there. We spent ages seeing if we had to do something, but no, the game was bugged. So we actually had to like save, like, well, close down the game, reopen it, and then they were there. Like, so it was fine. So it wasn't like the biggest issue, and this only happened a couple times. Now, difficulty wise, AJ's been trying to play this on his own, and he says it's absolutely nails. However, Christina and I are veterans of these kinds of games. We're like big on Diablo and any kind of like dungeon crawling game, as well as like looter shooters. So we together know our kind of like teamwork to play here, and we did really well. There was some cases where we were just getting annihilated, and you know, maybe it was a turret or maybe it was a mech, and maybe we just weren't high enough level, because you've got side missions and main missions, and it actually tells you what level you should be before you go to a certain area, because areas are like level locked. You can just go anywhere pretty much. There are some places you can't go until you've like progressed through the story, but you could just wander into like a level 20 zone when you're only level 10, and you will just get annihilated. However, if you could teamwork it, then you can get through it and get a lot of XP. But yeah, I mean, this game is absolutely amazing. It is gorgeous. I'm a huge sci-fi nut, so pairing it with like a dungeon crawler, which generally are more like fantasy style, you know, again like Diablo, it's a really nice thing for me that is big on the whole cyberpunk thing, as well as pairing that with that kind of dungeon crawling kind of aspect. I absolutely love it. The game was too short in my opinion. Christina and I, we completed it. We were almost 100%ed it, bar those couple of boxes, and it didn't take us too long, but we were playing several hours each night. But you know, it didn't kind of tell us that we were near the end of the game. All of a sudden it got very hard. That last kind of like mission, we probably wiped about 6 times, and we just had to keep going, and then all of a sudden it was the end of the game, and it was like, oh, okay, now you can still go back and you can play through and like collect all your items, or you can start New Game Plus, which keeps your characters and all your progression, and you basically play through the game again, but everything's harder, and I imagine you get more loot and different items like that. But the Ascent is really, really good, so make sure you go and check that out. We're big advocates of it here. I really, really hope that they bring out a number 2 or maybe an expansion. And yeah, I've got a lot of love for this game, so I'll definitely be replaying it. It's got huge replayability factors, and if you've got some friends online or like couch co-op to play with, then I definitely recommend the Ascent. So make sure to subscribe for all your PlayStation 5 news and updates, and as well, go check out the 128KB channel. It's just called 128KB, and that is the Nintendo channel where I come from. So if you want to hear more from me, go and check that channel out as well.